Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my good friend, Charles Beaty Jr., Chinese food aficionado, soccer dad, and vice president of
corporate
relocation
for
at Acme Car Shipping. Charles, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
I've been watching for about 2 years now.
Yeah,
2 years or so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm so glad you're here, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on.
I've known you for a long time, and it's great to finally get you on the show. You're one of the people who kind of welcomed me when I moved to Allen, and actually picked me up, took me to lunch.
That's right.
Proper date.
Yeah, gentlemen. We went to Jingqi, had some Chinese food.
Jingqi out in Richardson. Shout out to Jingqi. Really good. Get in those comments. Put a like out there. Send a little love out here to North Dallas. Here we are in Glomo HQ, broadcasting live with Charles here in the studio. Want to know who you are, where you are. Give your company a little shout out. We're going to be talking about auto shipping. We're going to be talking maybe a little bit about the footy. Maybe
that's right. Definitely footy.
Little footy action. Very cool. And I got questions. I got all sorts of questions here.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some fun too. I promise it's not gonna just be all auto shipping.
That's right. We have other things, right?
Yeah, we got other stuff. I got a list here of stuff here. Look at this. Craig Donovan checking in.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Charles. Good luck. Have fun. Hey, Ben.
Appreciate it, Craig. Yeah, where's the
I'm such an afterthought here in this comment. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Craig.
Love Craig Donovan.
That's right.
Craig was a great guest, by the way. Yeah. How do you know Craig?
So we do car shipping for him. And I've worked with Sterling Lexicon for about 7 years.
Wow.
Between my previous company and Acme. So Craig and Laura Benjamin.
Shout out to Laura Benjamin.
Yeah. Great guys.
Yeah. Good people out there in Jacksonville.
That's right. I liked how Craig was doing, I think he was on doing the virtual presentation. So not sending out trophies essentially or awards and doing the donations to charity. So
yeah, that was pretty forward thinking. That was different.
Yeah.
In lieu of the trophies, kind of like certificates and then donations in people's honor, kind of more sustainable.
Yeah.
You think a lot of people are going to be going to that kind of a awards recognition strategy?
I would say so. I mean, there seems to be less travel. So, I mean, you're not really having as many people coming in and seeing the trophy in your office and you
notice I have no trophies in this office.
You should.
I do. I have one little one. It's a toilet bowl. Actually, I got for coming in last place in the IAM fantasy football league.
Last place?
Yeah.
Gosh, that must have been a tough league.
It was surprisingly easy league, actually. I just had a terrible draft. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, I dropped him too early.
Yeah.
Never get those back.
Nope. He killed me in the playoffs. So don't worry about it. If you would have made the playoffs, he would have killed you in that.
He's a buzzsaw, Ramondre.
For sure.
Yeah, no, the awards thing is interesting because what do you think about the awards in general here? Because I think Craig says, okay, I've heard you say something nice about me, so I can leave now.
That's awesome.
Hit that like button if you like Craig Donovan. If you don't, do the kind of questioning, kind of pink, purple face. Just kidding.
That's
awesome. I mean, do it if you want to. We got Florin Petruto. Look at this. Florin Petruta checking in from the Boogie Down Bronx. It's car shipping competition. Bad as the moving. Is the car shipping competition as bad as the moving? I hope the margins are better. Wow. Hitting us with the hard ball.
Right.
Wow. You know what? Let's give the people what they want. Florin wants to know how competition is in auto shipping.
There is competition. There's certain companies like us, we focus on moving and relocation specifically. So
because there's a lot of people that ship cars for dealerships and other things like that.
Agreed.
Do you do that or
we don't?
You don't.
So moving and relocation is our niche.
All right.
We're service based. It's all about the quality with us, and that really fits with the relo space.
Oh yeah, definitely high touch area. Now, when you say quality, though, I'm gonna let's double click on that and unpack that a little bit here.
For sure.
Because everybody says, "Oh, I'm a quality mover. I'm a quality service provider." What does quality look like in auto shipping?
So quality in auto shipping is really going to be the follow through, the communication, kind of like with our clients that work with us, they know the consistency's there. If we say we're going to load it on the 10th of January, we're loading it on the 10th of January.
What happens if you don't load it on the 10th of January?
We will load it because we'll send a flatbed to make sure it's loaded.
Oh, so even if the over-the-road truck doesn't get in there, you have the flatbed. That's kind of like the shuttle.
Exactly, just like the shuttle.
Or the agent pickup in moving terms, right?
Same with ours. But on the typical auto shipping company, that's not there. It's, hey, the truck's not going to be there till the 12th now. You'll need to leave the keys under the mat.
Right.
You know, that's it. That's the only option. So really with us being full service and guaranteeing those services, it's good for the transferees as well as good for the individuals.
Yeah, this is good stuff here. I look at Florence as I moved to Queens. It's safer. Took you long enough. Gosh, it's like the Bronx just got dangerous.
That's right.
That's great. Appreciate it, Florin. Florin actually moved my my in-laws out to the Poconos, and which is really cool. But he didn't take them far enough because they're back. So
they're back.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how they got back, but Allison Daniel can confirm Charles and the team at Acme are the best.
Thanks, Allison.
Allison.
Hey, I mean, that's awesome.
How much did you pay Allison?
Nothing. I mean, that was.
You just make a big donation to her name, and
for sure, donation in your name. The Human Fund, George Costanza.
The Human Fund. Happy Festivus. Happy late Festivus to everybody out there, by the way. Hit that like button. We're going to have some fun out here. Get into the comments with your questions and comments for Charles. Here we got people checking in. This is great. Scott Williamson, great stuff. Charles, Cliff Bierman. Hey, Charles, good to see you. Nobody's saying hi.
Hey,
to me.
Appreciate it.
Super great.
Hey, give some love to Ben.
Yeah, can we get some
Come
love?
on. Come on.
That's the whole reason I do this thing anyway. Aaron says, Charles, can you give us an example of most common situations where people are waiting to ship their cars in relocation? Quite a few companies have this in their reload policy, but curious when it is used the most, primarily international, or do people ever do it domestically? I'm new. Educate me. So there's a lot of questions going here.
Waiting to ship their cars?
Yeah. Let's break this apart, Aaron. And if I get it wrong, Aaron, put some clarifiers in here for clarifiers. Is that a word?
It sounds right.
Google that. Somebody out there.
Clarification.
Some clarifications out there. Aaron says, Charles, can you give us an example of the most common situations where people are waiting, are wanting? No.
Oh, wanting maybe?
I turned 40 actually recently. And my eyes don't work anymore.
Yeah, I'm a year away, so I understand.
So why do people ship their cars?
So there are different reasons. So you could have somebody that maybe doesn't like to drive long distances. I mean, you're moving 3,000 miles. You're going to have to commit 6 to 7 days minimum to drive cross country.
Yeah, it can be dangerous too.
Oh, for sure. Especially you're in the middle of the winter going through Wyoming.
Oof, or like the Rockies.
Yeah.
Gosh, even those, even the Pocono Mountains up in Pennsylvania.
For sure. For sure.
Get rough.
Or it could be that maybe they have 2 cars. They're going to drive with their spouse in one. They want to ship the second one. We see a lot of that. But typically, if the relocation policy is going to approve it, I mean, it's a great advantage to not have to give up a week of your life on that drive cross country.
Yeah. And Aaron too, I mean, along with that, you know, depending on when you buy your car and how your loan is amortized, right? If you just bought it a year ago, you're upside down on that vehicle.
For sure.
So if you ship it, unless your company's giving you a loss on sale benefit, which is kind of a joke, like they do in like as a homeowner, you know, you can't sell that car and then buy another one at destination. You're going to be upside down. So you need to ship it.
Or you could have a lease. So your limited mileage, your 12,000 miles a year, say on a 2,000 mile move, you're having to give up a sixth of your
interesting Aaron. Or you're going to pay like, you know, X cents per mile after. So now she's also asking, is it for international or do people ever do it domestically?
Yeah, we handle mostly domestic. So 99% of ours is domestic. We also handle Puerto Rico, Canada, those areas, but pretty much all domestic. But I mean, there are a lot of people that do ship international. So if you're Department of Defense, like military relocations, stuff like that.
Hit that like button if you love Charles. If you don't, you can always hit the pink little quizzical. No, I'm just kidding. Why do I always do that?
I don't know.
Well, the button's there, people. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Click one of them.
Click one of them. No, honestly, it all works. It all works for the algorithm. Let's see. Do you do international though? I mean, you say you don't. I hear a lot of companies don't do international auto shipping. Why is it that virtually no companies in the relocation space do international auto shipping?
I mean, it's a difficult process. Because we handle Canadian shipments, so it does handle a lot of movers hate car shipments to Canada to and from. It's a
Why?
lot
Why
of
is that?
paperwork. You got to have everything in line. If you don't have it in line, the car stops at the border.
Ugh.
It can't cross, or it crosses illegally. Say it goes into Canada, you have to bring it back to the US for 72 hours, cross it correctly
Oh my
to then be
gosh.
able to register it.
Oh my
But we've got
gosh.
a great coordinator. Shout out to Marjana on our team
Shout out
that
Marjana.
handles the Canadian shipments. She gets all that in order. Very good with details, and really likes it.
So is it the sheer complexity of the customs requirements for each country, and I would say maybe the tax requirements?
It is because really you have to be an expert in that to be able to advise the transferee. Because I mean, if they're thinking there's no taxes when it's shipped over there, they end up having to pay, we'll say $5,000 or $6,000 to register the car in whatever country they're in. Um, then that falls on the relo company or the auto shipper that they weren't advised that.
Yeah.
So
This is really interesting. These are things you don't think about often. We got a lot of questions coming in. Keep those questions coming in here. This is fun. People are like, I'm gonna set Charles up with a question.
yeah,
We're giving Charles a tough time here. Let's see here. Aaron saying makes sense totally. Sarah says relocation today loves Charles
oh,
and
thanks, Sarah.
Acme Car Shipping.
Yeah.
I'm curious on what areas are most challenging to ship to and from. Is it remote areas, narrow cities?
Uh, Not necessarily narrow cities because we have solutions for that. So kind of like the movers have the
Yeah.
shuttles.
So what's the
We'll
solution
send a
for the cities?
flatbed. We'll send a 3-car carrier.
A 3-car
A three
carrier?
car. So that's a lot
What's
of
that
what you
about?
see like regional moves. So like
Okay.
say a Dallas to Austin move, or delivering from an auction to a dealer 40 miles away,
Is
stuff
that
like
like
that.
a flatbed, or is it like a trailer kind
That's
of
called a
situation?
3-car wedge. So it's got
3-car
a
wedge. I've never heard this
I know
before.
exactly.
I'm learning here.
Well, I mean, most people don't even notice car shippers. It's
Right.
like they drop cars off at the dealership.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a 1-ton dually with a
1-ton
trailer on the back.
dually is two rear wheels per side, right? 4
Yep,
rear wheels.
exactly.
So it's a pickup truck.
Yes.
Big pickup truck.
Big pickup truck. So they'll go in like New York City. We have a great partner that's in Edison, New Jersey. Does pickups for us, brings it outside the city, loads on the car carrier, ships out from there.
You hear that, Florin? You can
There you
call
go.
you can call Charles over here. He's got people
Right in
in
your
the
area.
city. You go out to Queens, or too dangerous?
We go everywhere but the Bronx, I believe.
Everywhere but the
Was that
Bronx,
where it
he
was?
says.
Was that where
Everywhere.
it was?
Well, he said he moved out of the Bronx. It was too
Oh,
dangerous.
okay, yeah.
He said
But
everywhere
yeah,
but the
I would
boogie
say
down.
most difficult areas is rural areas. So say thinking like Minot, North Dakota,
Minot.
yeah,
Wow. Minot Air
yeah.
Force Base up there.
Actually, my dad lived in Minot for about 2 years.
Talking about
as a
Charles
kid.
Beaty Sr.
Yep, senior.
Hey, can somebody tag Charles Beaty Sr.? We got to make sure he's watching right now.
That's
Go
right.
find him on I know that he's on LinkedIn. Go find him on
right.
LinkedIn, connect with him, and then tag him in here.
That's right.
Let's make sure. I love when the parents chime in.
Oh yes,
They
I
usually
love it when your dad chimes in.
They usually chime in on Facebook. They don't usually chime in on the LinkedIn.
That's right.
But let's get him on the LinkedIn. Can somebody tag him out there?
That's right.
Let's get him out here. Look at this. We got people tuning in here. Stephanie says, moved from Boston to Dallas in 2022. I stuffed my car with all my stuff and shipped it down.
Oh man.
Oh no. And then Cliff Bierman promptly asks, Charles, explain why you can't load stuff in the car when it's shipped.
Everybody loves to load stuff. They're like, my car looks like a shipping container and I would like to pack it up. Well, there's a couple.
Are they allowed to do that or not?
It's not. I mean, you're not supposed to.
Is Stephanie like breaking a law, or is she just like getting a slap on the hand?
Probably just slap on the hand.
Okay.
I mean, the driver might have asked
Stephanie.
the company for a little extra money for the weight, something like that.
Is that what it is? The weight?
That's a big thing because the drivers with their truck full of cars, is right on the edge of weight. So if each car maybe had 200 pounds in it, he could be overweight and then has to remove a car from his load,
Wow.
which, obviously
That'd be
is a
bad.
lot of money for him.
Right, because he's
like, I
banking
don't
on
get
that
this
thing being
revenue.
full.
Yeah, I need it full.
How many cars fit on the trailer?
Depends on the size of the truck. Most long distance will hold between 7 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 cars would be like if you have Honda Civics, 10 Honda Civics on the truck.
Yeah.
And kind of for the reload people and the, rate sheets, the oversized fees, that's where they come into play. So you got a pickup truck. It holds 8 Honda Civics in one truck. It's because the truck's taking up an extra spot.
Right. That's why they're paying the
Yeah.
oversized. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what is an allowable amount of stuff to put in your car? I mean, Stephanie's over there saying she put all her stuff in there.
Yeah.
And shipped it out.
We discourage having items in there just because it's not inventory. Like the movers do an inventory.
That's true. It's not really secured.
It's not secured. It's not something that we're saying, hey, looks like there's a Rolex, four Oakleys. And,
I shipped 5 Rolexes in the glove compartment. No, there's
exactly
none.
No, there's none.
Where's my rollies?
So, I mean, we usually maybe will allow 50 pounds in the trunk, non-valuable items, understanding that we're not insuring those items. So
Stephanie found a loophole here.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for you, Stephanie. Stick it to the man, Stephanie.
That's right.
All right, let's see. Brad Hamlin, good friend of mine, Brad. You're getting a lot of questions.
That's awesome.
You were like over indexing on the questions. This is incredible. Hit that like button right now.
Love it.
Let's encourage Charles here. Brad, they're throwing heat out here, though.
Oh, okay.
Brad says, does Acme self-haul or broker out their shipments?
We are a broker. So
but isn't everybody a broker in this business?
Everybody.
You worked for DAS back in the day. They had a fleet, right?
They had a fleet, but they brokered a lot.
But didn't the fleet kind of one of the reasons they didn't make it? Because the fleet.
Yeah, and I think some of the issue is when you are a carrier, you have to make sure that you set up your loads correctly to make money on the carrier side.
Right.
So you may not get the best transit time. Kind of like, I mean, at DAS, we had some extended transit times, I'll say. With us, we can kind of match the driver that's going on the dates that the transferee needs.
Right, because now your pool of drivers is the country.
Exactly.
The whole pool is your pool.
Exactly.
So you can super optimize for that.
For sure. And you have, 3 or 4 carriers on each route that do a great job for you. And you see which ones line up for the dates that the transferee needs. And we rate our carriers based on the transferee's experience, their feedback, claims percentages, on-time percentages, communication.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting here. When we talk about, broker versus self-hauled, whatever, and I know you're a DS, and I knew the folks about that. I remember going to your Mesquite office.
That's right.
Back in the day when I moved to Texas the second time in 2012, and we had some good friends out there, and that was that was an iconic company in our space, for a long time, right? And very well regarded. But yeah, they had the carrier, the asset side, and then the non-asset side, and just like in moving, right? There's asset-based movers like your van line agents and your independents that are running a men in trucks and warehouses operation. And there are your non-asset based movers, right? Your small shipment providers, your international providers are 99% non-asset based freight forwarders. And the types of businesses that these are very different. The non-asset based business is very much a sales and customer service organization with some logistics. And the asset based company is very much an operations trucking, shop. And these are very different capabilities,
For
right?
sure.
Different skill sets, different personnel types. I mean, we look at some moving companies that have relocation companies, right? Relocation is very much a professional services business, customer service, supply chain management, finance business. And then the moving side, very much an operationally focused business, and organizations will tend to do one or the other well. And it's very hard to do both well.
For sure. Well, in being a carrier, so if you are running truckloads, you're running 7 cars at a time, things like that. I think it's a little bit easier on the carrier side. With reloads, I mean, most people are 1 or 2 cars, so you're really putting together 6 or 7 customers for that carrier to fill his truck and get it to destination. So I think with our us being a broker, I mean, similar to some of our competitors, but a lot of it is the difference is the operations side, how you choose your carriers and how
Mm.
you service it when something goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that's life, right? Like,
Yeah,
what do you do when stuff goes wrong, right?
exactly.
That's like the whole like integrity thing, and that's just kind of business, right? It's like, how do you handle, when things go wrong? And I think that's why this is such a relationships business.
Yeah.
It's a high touch relationships business, and our clients are extremely valuable to us.
Mhm.
And if we need to know that our suppliers that we're relying on are going to take care of it when things go wrong,
For sure.
because they inevitably will, right?
For sure. Agreed. For my customers to succeed, I need to provide a great service for them. So, and that's what me and our team
But
focus
what
on.
does great service mean? Like you say quality, you say great
Mhm.
service. I mean, I'm going to challenge just a little bit to understand
Okay.
what does that actually mean in specific terms?
So specific terms, I would say is consistency.
Mhm.
Uh, our team is really good at response time. So
Yes,
when when we're responding on something,
huge.
how I've always viewed it throughout my entire career, because I was in COD sales for 7 years, and then about 3.5 years as an account executive at DAS. That's what kind of when I got into relocation,
Yep,
kind of learning that part of it. I've always found that the quicker I can respond to someone to solve someone's problem, the more valuable we are.
yep.
Because like moving coordinators, relocation coordinators, when they're sending out that request to a company like ours, really they're saying, I need you to check and say, yes, you're going to take this so I can check it off my list and go to my
Yeah,
next task.
100%. And I
Yeah.
think that's what our customers are doing too. They're not trying to think about auto shipping all day long.
No.
They're like, I'm in auto shipping mode right now, and I
Mhm.
hope to be in this mode for as little time as possible.
100%.
And let me get on with my day.
Yeah. Then
And
I got to move on to my surveys
yes,
or checking in with the crews, everything
yes.
else that they have
And
to
we
do.
talk about service all the time,
Mhm.
but I got news for people. Speed is service now.
Yeah.
When you say service, what you really mean is speed. And that's what your customers mean too. Response time is everything. I have so many clients that win so much business because they are responsive.
Mhm. Agreed. And our whole team's that way. So, I mean, Scott Buxa and I, he's the president of Acme. Both of us are very customer focused to our customers. And that's why really we haven't lost any accounts in the last 7 years. We've grown a lot of our accounts because of the differentiators that they
Wow.
see. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
speaking of differentiators, man, I told you we're throwing heat out here.
That's
We got
right.
people checking in. We got Jamie. I mean, look at this. Jamie checking Cliff. I mean, this is great.
What's the weather like? I didn't hear it from Jamie.
Different
Oh,
Jamie.
different Jamie. Okay.
Different. We got different Jamie. Look, we got Jamie Brown,
Oh,
downtown Jamie
okay.
Brown here.
Jamie.
Charles,
Hey.
I mean, look at this. Charles, can you explain the difference in pickup spreads with open versus enclosed carriers? Hi. What's up,
That's
Jamie?
awesome. Hey, Jamie. Jamie's on our team. She supports Allison. Uh, she does a great job. Her and Jessica. So pickup spreads. So we have different options for pickup spreads. So we have certain clients that require a 1 day load. So exact day load. I want it loaded on the 10th of January. No problem. We got it. We have other clients that are okay with a 1 or 2 day load spread. So some of that can be budget based.
Mm.
So maybe they're trying to save a little bit of money on on their reload package. For enclosed, typically we need about a 3 day load spread because that's specialized equipment.
So there's just fewer of those carriers
There's
running
few of
around.
them on the road, so
Right.
you want to line them up and load them direct when at all possible.
How many? Like, give me like how many fewer? Is it like 10% of the capacity is enclosed? Like, what are we talking
I
about?
mean, you're looking at an estimate 10 to 15% of
Is
the capacity
enclosed?
is enclosed. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, maybe even less than
Maybe
that.
less. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is specialized. I mean, the equipment's expensive. Uh,
And you can't fit
yes,
nearly as many cars on it. I
no,
mean, am I making that up? I
no,
mean,
that's right.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
How many cars can you put on an enclosed carrier?
You have varying sizes. So we have like an exclusive use service that we offer. There will be a single car enclosed carrier.
Well, that's high
that hauls
society, man.
I mean,
That's tall cotton, man. What's that go for, man?
I mean, it's not cheap, but it's something we started about 4 or 5 years ago. That it was an executive C-level for Fortune 100 company, and he said, "All I care about in my entire relocation is my 267 Camaros." He's like, "I don't care about my furniture. I don't care about my new house.
Wow.
Like these are worth $250,000 a piece,
Wow.
and I don't want them driven unless I'm there." So
Wow.
so I got on the phone with him, and because it was a service we didn't offer at the time. So I was asking, "What do you what's your concerns?" and walk
Right.
through it. And he said, "I want to drive them on the truck myself." It's like, "Okay, I prefer not, but okay." And I want to take the keys with me. So
Wow.
that car does not
This
leave
guy's
the
like
truck.
Ferris Bueller's dad.
Oh, for sure. He watched that movie way too many times. But I mean, we found a solution for him, got it approved through the mover and the reload company, and they said this is what he wants. It's approved. We got it, and the guy was ecstatic.
That's really cool.
Um,
I love that solution there. This is cool. Scott's checking in saying, "Doing great, Charles, making all of us at Acme proud."
Hey, Scott.
Patty's laughing at Stephanie over here. Stephanie's like, "Yeah, oh man, I'm getting in trouble over here." Yeah, we're telling the DOT. We're filing a
right.
complaint here. It's just kidding, Stephanie. It
Remove
was
your
all
last name.
non-valuable items. I
Yeah.
promise. I promise.
Remove your last name.
Oh, now
from
there's no
LinkedIn.
Rolexes, Stephanie.
Yeah.
There's Rolexes on the claim.
Uh-huh.
Now there's no Rolexes.
That's right.
This is great. Balaji checking in. What up, Balaji? He's going to be in studio, hopefully coming in February here. He's local to us down the road.
Awesome.
Down
Great
the road
place.
a piece.
Yeah.
This is fun. Brad saying, "I remember Charles from his DAS days. Great guy." I want to talk about
Thanks,
kind
Brad.
of your transition now too, and kind of what's going on at Acme and kind of your new opportunity there. We're going to get into that as well. Hit that like button right now. Charles is dropping a lot of knowledge on us right now.
Awesome.
I'm learning more than I thought I cared to know about auto shipping. But
That's right.
but this is great. This is great. Cliff Bierman's setting you up with these questions. This is fun. Oh, fun stuff here. You know what? Look at the heat. Throwing heat. Brad, looks like this might be our last auto shipping question. I'm not sure. Get in the comments though. If you got any comments for Charles, it's going to get fun here. Brad says, "How is Acme different from other providers in the auto shipment business?" And he names a few there. But you know, I think that's fair, right? Because I think when you broker cars, right? And when people say broker, it does make it sound like it really
It kind of makes it sound like it's hands off.
You're not doing anything
Yeah,
else.
you don't do anything
You're
in
just
the
brokering
process.
it.
Exactly.
Just taking my money, keeping 20%, brokering it. No, but I mean, how do you differentiate? You know, I think people look at this space and they could be tempted to look at it with a lot of sameness. So how do you differentiate?
For sure. And I mean, the typical car shipping broker that you search for online, yes, it is a connection with a carrier. They share the contact information, and they're done. So essentially, it's between you and the driver from that point. With us, like I was saying before, we are very hands-on. We have a team of 4 dispatchers. One of them worked at DAS as a fleet manager for, 15 years.
Wow.
So he comes with a lot of knowledge on the carrier side of it. And really, it's kind of like the movers, kind of like you talked about. You have van line, stuff like that. So say you work for a van line and you have great partners in each market that service it for you. Well, you choose the best one of that market that you have a relationship with that's going to service your customer.
Right.
The
Sure.
best.
You always got a top carrier that you go to.
Exactly. So ours is the same way. Our top carriers handle 50% of our shipments, and we've created programs with them to kind of connect more. So we have a preferred carrier program that was started with Super Dispatch.
What is Super Dispatch?
Super Dispatch. It's very cool. So like on the moving side, a lot of movers are kind of going to digital inspections, or some of them, if the drivers adapt.
Right. I hope so.
So I know
there's a lot of paper in this
for
business
sure,
still.
for sure.
A lot of
So
paper.
with Super Dispatch, we have carriers that will accept moves through Super Dispatch, which has electronic bill of lading. So they
Oh,
take pictures, write down odometer readings, and the great thing is with pictures is it tells 1,000 words. Isn't that what the saying is?
a
Something like that.
picture is worth 1,000
Worth a
words.
thousand words. Yeah.
Yep.
So with that, that helps in the entire process. So we have that extra detail for those difficult claims. You know, nobody likes to talk about claims. Claims isn't fun,
Claims
but
happens though.
they happen. Exactly.
What's a typical claim? What's a typical claims rate in the auto shipping industry? I remember when I was in the moving biz, which I guess auto shipping is kind of a subset of the
Yeah.
moving business. But I remember the old American Moving and Storage Association would publish an annual claims rate, and it would oscillate around 20%, 21 to 18%. What's a typical claims rate in the auto shipping? Is that kind of information published?
I don't think it's necessarily published. I mean, I can give what our numbers are. It's just under 2%
Wow.
of our shipments have claims. But I think a lot of that can attest to the electronic bill of ladings
Mm,
because there's a lot of things that with paper bill of ladings, they kind of leave a gray area because the customer might say, yeah, those two scratches are marked there, but I have a third and fourth one now.
right.
So the electronic bill or the paper BOL didn't help with that. The
Y-
electronic BOL with the
yes.
pictures, you can be like, well, here's the picture. It's
Right.
time, location, date stamped.
Right. Because on a paper, because I've done like these walk arounds, like when I rent a car or something, right?
Hmm.
And you just on the door panel, there's a scratch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But to your point, well, I could have gotten, two more dings, or I could just be making it up.
For sure.
Yeah, that makes
But
a lot of sense. So it's also about, how you handle the vehicles, but it's also about, operationally protecting yourself
yeah,
from claims by having good
yeah,
information.
protecting us, protecting the RMC, protecting the movers to have the information to be able to go back on a claim and say, hey, ABC company, John Smith filed this claim. I know he's very frustrated with it, but here's the facts with what occurred in the shipment. But back to what you were talking about, differentiators is it's the response time, like you said.
Yep.
It's so huge when the coordinators and reload companies have so much to do. So our response time's quick, our follow through, our consistency, because as Allison had said before, like they know what to count on for us. Like,
Yeah. How rate driven is this environment? I mean, is this a very rate driven environment? Is it about rate, or what is it about? What is it about?
I think it kind of depends on the program because a lot of the clients that we have grown in business with over the last couple of years is very quality focused. They're like, I'm hearing a lot of noise with who we're using before.
Yeah.
We need you to help us take
Yeah.
on more business. And it's like, no problem. We're not going to take on more than we can handle and service correctly.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, there are some that are rate driven
I feel like it I
that
feel
you're
like it
competing
goes in
for.
waves because there were some new entrants into this business half dozen years ago, right?
Yeah.
10 years ago maybe now, I don't know.
Hmm.
And it
Time
it,
flies.
there was only a few players back in the day with DAS.
Hmm.
And then when DAS kind of went away, then there kind of opened up space in this business for a lot of other players to kind of come in, right?
It definitely
And there was
did.
a lot of
Yeah.
talent that left DAS, right?
Mhm.
And now there's like they're on the marketplace and doing other things, right? So now all of a sudden you had all these kind of a lot more providers
Yes.
in the space, my observation.
Yeah.
And then things kind of got a little more competitive. Then you had a lot of providers come in that were kind of used to this like kind of large institutional business, could really get aggressive on pricing.
Mhm.
So they came in and they kind of bought a lot of business, it felt like to me.
Yeah.
But they were used to hauling cars for like dealerships or like the wholesale kind of market or B2C online or
Yeah.
where you don't really have the same accountability and the same long-term relations, long-term thinking.
For sure.
And so of course you can always come in and buy business in this business. You can.
Yeah.
But you can't keep it.
Yeah, and I
You
mean
know.
that's really the big thing is for the long term. It's like all of us want to keep that business long term. Um every facet of the business, but like you following through. Like with us, since we only handle moving and relocation, I think that does streamline it for carriers that haul for us. Just because they know when it's an Acme car, it's a moving or relocation car. To where they might be confused when the same broker provides a auction to dealer car and the communication's a little different. Like,
are they getting paid different amounts for each car that's on that chassis?
Yes.
Like so if I got, if I'm hauling, 10 cars, how much of a disparity, like how much of those, like how much of a variance is there between what I'm getting compensated for each one of those vehicles?
I mean, it can kind of vary depending on the requirement for the pickup time frame. Because I mean, you might have an auction to dealer car that it's like you just need to pick it up Monday to Friday next week, anytime you're in the area. So it gives the carrier a lot of flexibility to anytime I'm there, I'll grab it.
Yeah.
To where ours is more time based. So the transferees leaving on Saturday to fly to their new location, it has to load on Friday.
Right.
Like it's
day definite pickup.
Yeah, day definite pickup. So I mean, carriers get paid more for that and the communication. Like they have to call ahead, they have to give a window, typically about a 4-hour window, and then call as they get closer.
I gotta think that you're paying more for a Toyota Corolla than the Toyota dealership's paying to ship it.
Yeah.
Right?
It could be.
Right. And that's got to buy you some preference.
For sure.
I would think.
It does. And I mean, with the Toyota dealer, they're typically shipping truckloads.
Right.
So they're shipping 9 cars at a time. So they do get a discounted rate.
Yeah. And then, you're right. And it's highly optimized.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, this is interesting. Guys, we're nerding out on transportation over here. So if you don't want to hear us nerd out on transportation, you're going to have to jump in here with some questions and comments here. Aaron Venable saying, great stuff here, guys. Great topic.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you. Look at that. Brad saying claims and service recovery are just as important as service delivery itself.
100%.
Yeah.
Brad,
go ahead.
Did Brad have another question?
Brad's got tons of questions. Brad's
cool. We're here for you, Brad.
Well, that's a lot of comments, so keep going.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, with service recovery, like it is. You were in sales on the moving side, and it's like you try so hard to get in with an account. You get the account, the first move.
Oh, Maron.
First move. There's an issue.
Breaks my heart.
You
work so hard.
You work so hard.
So many client dinners, so much schmoozing, the RFP, the presentations, the going in, the promises that were made. Like
exactly.
you've done so much.
Expectations were set. You notified your ops team. You wanted everything to go great.
Implementation and integration calls we went through. All the training,
the extra username and login for their system.
Oh my gosh. And then we get a move and then we screw the pooch. And it's like, all you had to do was do the move.
Yep, exactly. So the reason I mentioned that is one of our largest,
you're triggering
largest clients right now. First move, working on it for 6 to 9 months. You get the first move.
Don't tell me.
It delivers. It's damaged. It has a claim of $1,600.
Oh, mono.
You know why they're one of our largest clients?
You took care of that.
We paid it within a day. $1,600. I told him it's done. This is new damage. The estimate makes sense. It's paid.
Beautiful.
And because when you do it without being forced to do it.
Yes.
Because who wants to wait 30 days?
Yes.
Everyone ask for updates.
Don't make me argue with you.
Yes. Yes. And we have great relationships with our clients that will say, hey, this is one of those. Like, we need some help. Can we work it out? And you work it out.
Yeah. You know what? I'm a big fan of the quote, and this came from a Supreme Court ruling. Justice delayed is justice denied. So if you're going to make me fight with you for a month and a half and basically treat me as though I'm lying to you, if I'm the client, and you're going to make me justify everything and go through all these hoops and wait for you to think of every reason not to pay this claim before you finally roll over and pay it.
Yeah.
And then you expect me to forget all the hardship and the lack of trust that the provider engendered into the relationship.
For sure.
And just treat it like, oh, well, what? We paid the claim.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, and I want to shout out to Heather Zarati. She's our director of claims, does an incredible job. of pulling the data together and helping us make a decision together. So,
and you got to do it quick.
You got to do it quick. Yeah.
Shout out to Heather. Look at this.
Yeah.
Aaron Venable saying lovely, paying the claim next day. Brad Hamlin, something Ben was really good at in his previous life in the moving industry. Thank you, Brad. I always like to say I was a professional apologizer. Alice, I mean, it's true though.
Oh,
we had a claim rate of 20% in the moving industry, right? I mean, not your 2%.
You know, a mover told me one time because his client was telling him, I need you to lower your claim rate. And he goes, so you want me to not pay these $200 claims and just make it go away? It was like, I can lower that claim rate, but the transferee is going to be more unhappy.
Yeah.
Because I'm paying the small stuff to make sure the noise is down.
Well, and that's the thing. I think a lot of times clients used to ask me to report out on customer satisfaction score, on-time delivery, and claim percentage and claim severity.
Yeah.
Right. Claim percentage is how many claims did you have on over how many moves, and claim severity is what was the average dollar of each claim. The problem was the claims percentage and claim severity and the on-time percentage really were just proxies for customer satisfaction. So it's like you're either measuring customer satisfaction or you're measuring these other things which you think correlate to customer satisfaction.
Makes sense.
And it's kind of like you're double dinging us a little bit. And you're also, what if you're late and what if you broke something, but what if the customer's very satisfied, would recommend? You're like, well, how could they be? Well, maybe we communicated every single day. They understood that we had a flat tire or whatever, and they were cool with it. And oh, by the way, we put them up in a nice hotel and went above and beyond for their family to make them comfortable. And what if, oh, by the way, they were staying at grandma's anyway, so it wasn't that big a deal, right? Or they were going to see the Grand Canyon, another extra day is like no problem. And oh, by the way, what if the thing that we broke, we fixed it the next day? It was a used something and now it's a new something. Like there's so many stories I can tell of people who are satisfied, even though the shipment was a day late or something, even though you had something damaged.
So true. So true. And that's what we get measured on as well. It's on-time percentage, claim severity.
Yeah.
And I mean, our on-time
percentage. Do you like, I mean, would you rather be measured on one metric or do you like being kind of diversified across multiple metrics and have that all kind of go into the algorithm that is your overall score?
I think I do like the overall score because you have some transferees, you deliver on time, everything was communicated correctly, and you get the 1 out of 5 and you're like, but I don't and there's no comment.
And there's no comment.
I mean, you hate
I know.
this. You know, you're just like 1 out of 5 and there's no comments.
I need closure.
Nothing. I show it loaded.
I need to know what I did. You ghosted me. I need to. I thought we were cool.
We said 8 to 10 and loaded at 9. We said it was delivering on this day.
We nailed the window.
Exactly. Nailed the window. There was no damage.
Gave you my best coordinator. We nailed the window and we washed it. What more can we do?
What was the on-time percentage like on household goods? Like what was
a lie?
A lie.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. All these numbers are self-reported. Like, can we just talk about that for a second? I mean, all these numbers in the household goods shipping industry, generally speaking, are self-reported. I will say North American Van Lines employed a third-party call center, which would call and do some of this stuff on their own. But most RMCs out there, now there's some big ones that have some sophisticated survey technology and things that they do. That's awesome. But most of my clients would ask me for data. And yes, I had integrity when I answered those reports.
For sure.
But I'm also being held to a standard of, well, our minimum performance standard is 95.5%, and you're at 94, so you're not going to get any more moves on self-reported data.
Yeah.
So now you're put in a position of, are you going to fudge the numbers or are you going to get no moves? And it's just, there's so much of that goes on. And then you get these like super inflated expectations. Oh, well, we're accustomed to a 95.5%, average, it's like, really? Like, so less than 1 in 20 people had a complaint on a move of household goods, of used furniture. And so anyway, so those are the things that would be a challenge, to me. I don't know how you guys handle that.
Yeah, I mean, so some of it's kind of, you try to manage the expectation. Like our coordinators, like I was saying, on the response time, like they send a feedback email as soon as it moves, as soon as the vehicle delivers, to try to get some feedback. Because I mean, really, in those situations, if you can correct something small, and oh, my car was really dirty, can you send me $20 to wash it? And you're like, okay, that's probably going to improve their satisfaction.
Sure.
Okay, I'll help out with this. It's not something you're necessarily contracted to do, but something that helps with the process. Or it might be, hey, there was a scratch, the driver just delivered it, and we can initiate the claims process immediately, which then helps speed up the process.
Do you ever just you ever wash the car? Is it not feasible to do that?
I mean, it is difficult just because if you're washing the car, it's not going to be on
You're
the
taking it
hauler.
off the hauler.
You're taking off the hauler. And I mean, kind of like with household goods, like every time you move it, like you have more of a chance to damage it.
Right. Putting it on, taking it off,
Exactly.
putting it on, taking it off.
So a lot of what attributes to our low claims percentage is we try to load direct if possible. We always have the option of loading by flatbed if needed, but that's our number one, is pick up and deliver direct.
Yeah, really interesting. We got people here checking in here. This is awesome. Aaron says, great point, Ben. Being responsive and taking care of issues when there are issues, and overall customer service can be way better than a low claims rate.
For sure.
Not that you don't shoot for a low claims rate, just 100%. Saying it all goes together.
100%.
Tim McCaffrey checking in here. Heather and Marzina are two of the best.
Awesome.
Did I say that right?
Yep, that's right.
Cool. Thanks, Tim. Good. Thanks for checking in there,
That's
Tim.
right.
It's been a minute. Hit that like button right now. Let us know how we're doing out here. Allison's got a question.
Okay.
What is your favorite part about working in this industry, Charles?
It's got to be the relationships, like the people that you have known so long.
Yeah.
And like when we didn't get to see each other for 2 years during COVID, and
missed you, man.
Stuff like that. It's like you go and see people and it's like long lost friends, and it's like you try to do client visits during that time, but everyone's working remote. So it's like,
it's weird. It's weird. You can't even ask for a client visit.
Exactly.
I remember I went and saw an RMC, and I was the first person they had in their office. And they weren't actually technically receiving people. There was a no visitors policy, but I went and did a live show there.
Yeah.
They snuck me in. I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. I wasn't allowed to be seen by anybody. Yeah. And I'm pretty conspicuous.
That's right.
It's exactly. Try hiding me. Good luck.
Yeah. I got to go see Allison's team in Virginia. But it was only a couple of people were able to come into the office, but it was great, because it was like, man, I used to go. That's with Caprilo. I used to go see him twice a year, every year.
Oh, really?
And I loved it. It was like, that was always a highlight.
Yeah.
And same with a lot of my other customers. So it's, I got to go back, I think it was December of last year. And they were like, you're one of the first ones that actually got to come in.
Right.
And I was like, sweet,
Yeah.
But
client visits are the best. Let me ask you though, she asked you what's the best part about this industry. Yeah. But what would you be doing if you weren't doing this? And before you go any further, Marco's checking in here.
Hey, Marco.
What up, Marco? Marco says, you know what Marco says?
What?
I'm just kidding. Marco's being cool. He's like, I heard that if Charles was not moving cars, he would have been a professional soccer player.
If I had more athleticism and maybe a little speed like Marco has, then maybe I'd be there.
Who's better at soccer, you or Marco? Who's better at soccer, you or Marco?
I don't know. That's what we should have.
Marco
we should have a game.
Marco's not here to defend himself. You can wildly overstate your abilities.
Well, obviously. I mean, I'll send you some videos.
Send me some videos. I need some highlight reels here.
That's right.
Adam, do we have the ability to patch in some highlight reels from 20 years ago?
That's right. It may seem faster
in
for me than it actually looks on video.
Can we speed it up? 1.25 speed.
That's right.
Awesome. We work wonders there. Adam, our shout out to our producer Adam, who can obviously make anyone look amazing here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. This is really, really interesting. I got a question for you here. How did you get into this industry originally? Because that's something that we talk about quite a bit.
Yeah.
And And I love to hear the journeys people have.
For sure.
Did you like wake up and like, you know what I want to be is an auto shipping magnate?
You know, I always love soccer and cars. Like I posted something on LinkedIn and it was like, what's your car story? And man, I had probably the most comments I had ever had on a post.
People have car
And
stories.
it's so cool just like hearing people's like love for cars maybe coming from their dad or grandfather or uncle or with mine, my dad built a 67 Mustang when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I remember buying it, or he bought it, obviously. And
hey, can we tag Charles Beaty Sr. to make sure the story is legit and checks out?
So bought this 67 Mustang that had slid into a pole. So it barely drove home, and built it over time when I was a kid. And when I turned 17, that's what I got. You know,
what?
Yes.
What? He gifted you a 67 Mustang?
He did.
With a big dent in the door?
No, the dent was gone.
I'm just kidding.
It looked much better.
That must have been sweet.
You did a great job, Dad. Did a great
Shout
job.
out to Charles Beaty Sr.
That's right.
Nobody tagged him. Can we tag him, please? Can we tag him? Marco's in here saying, haha, I'm totally down for a 1v1 as long as we have medical staff.
That's right. 100%.
So did you roll up to high school in a 67 Mustang, or were you not allowed to drive it every day?
I did. Yeah, I drove it to school each day, and
like a boss.
Man, but in Texas, it's so hot. So
was it a drop top? Was
no,
it a
no, it was a coupe,
but it had no air conditioning?
It barely worked.
It
like
whispered.
Maybe 2 or 3 degrees lower than outside.
Hello, Charles.
Exactly.
Are you hot right now?
So you show up to school, you're like sweating.
You're sweating.
You know?
You're looking super cool. Were you like in your leather jacket?
No.
Pack of smokes, greaser style?
Sometimes.
Yes, sometimes.
But I always had a love of cars. You know, it's so like when I was going to college, I went to UTD, which you have a great partnership with here,
UTD, yeah.
which is awesome.
Go Comets.
That's right. So I was going to college there and selling cell phones at Nextel. Remember the push to talk?
Yo, bleep, bleep, yeah. Chirp, chirp, bleep,
That's
bleep.
Right. So I was selling those, and you know, it's like working retail. It's like, man, this is rough. Like, I hate doing this. I want to do something else. But I always
those cell phone kiosks were you at a kiosk?
We were in a store in the mall.
Oh, you had a storefront. You're big time.
I mean,
my wife worked at the kiosk.
Oh, really?
Oh, that kiosk game is hard.
Did she sell all different stuff?
Yeah, because they're walking by you and you're like, ma'am, sir, can I see your cell phone? Ma'am, can I see your cell phone there? Like you're just trying to get them to stop and like give you their device. Then they take the device, they put it behind the counter. Hey, let's talk about a Nextel.
That's right.
And you're like, oh, here we go.
Well, and I always hated it because Nextel always had the highest deposits for your credit ratings.
Because they always had bad credit.
Oh,
everybody with a Nextel had the worst credit.
It was college
students and construction workers.
Yeah.
That's it.
It was like $1,000 deposits on cell phones.
Oh my God.
And they go to Sprint for like $200 across the mall at the Radio Shack or whatever.
Yeah, zero down, free nights and weekends.
That's right.
But you could bleep unlimited.
That's right. Exactly. It's 300 minutes outbound.
Unlimited bleeps. It's like 2 a.m. somebody's chirping you.
That's right. So I had a friend while I was actually dating her, and she I was like, I hate my job. Like I want to do something else. Like, do you know anybody you can refer me to? And she was like, well, I have a friend that leases cars, and then I have another friend that transports cars. And I was like, transports cars? Like, that's a business? Like, that's something that people do?
I almost want to say, well, they don't get there on their own, but they do.
They do. Now they do. But I went on an interview with Aaron Almond, my old boss.
Shout out to Aaron. We love Aaron.
And they didn't have a sales role available. They had a service consultant, I believe is what they called it, customer service. So I interviewed with her, and she was like, you really want to do sales, don't you? And I was like, I mean, I'd like to, but you said you don't have an opening. You know, I'd be willing to check this out. And she goes, go interview with Craig, which was a sales manager. So interviewed with him, and pretty quick interview. And, you know, I'm in college, and they're like, hey, you can make, you know, decent money here. And I was just like, awesome. You know, while I'm in college, this is great.
What was decent money? Because I remember out of college, I got a job over here in Carrollton, working in the Pods call center. I was making like $11 an hour, and I'd get like a $6 spiff if I sold a long distance container and my conversion rate was over 15%.
Yeah.
That was my comp plan.
So ours was commission only.
On
COD
wow.
sales.
Oh, that's gangster.
But you had inbound calls.
Okay, inbound.
And then,
nice. All right.
then you had a mover that called in for a quote. Some of them I still work with to this day.
Those movers were gold.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because you're over here trying to like convert John Doe with a car versus like getting a mover who has a couple dozen of them.
For sure.
Oh
yeah, quite a few movers I still work with today from when I first started.
Were you allowed to be like, yo, call my direct
sure.
line?
They could email me, they could call. But
so you're doing inside sales, combination sales. B2B and B2C inside sales, DAS.
Yep.
In Mesquite?
Yes, in Mesquite.
Out there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dean Xeris, which was my first vice president of sales. He works for UShip.
Dean,
do you know Dean?
Yes, he works for UShip. Get a little closer, Mike.
Oh yeah.
I met Dean when I was at Freight Center back in 2011.
Really?
And is he in Austin now or is he in Dallas?
He's in Dallas.
Because UShip was out of Austin.
Yeah. He lived down there for a while.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
He was my first boss. And actually,
Dean?
When I started there when I was 21. And when I was 24, we're all talking as a team, like a way to raise sales and help each other out and stuff like that. And we mentioned to Dean, we're like, it'd be cool to have like a team leader program, and I was made a team leader at like 24 years old.
Yeah.
Where a lot of my team was 40, 45.
What was that like being a team leader at 24 when your team is 45? Because I had a similar circumstance when I was at Potts. I got promoted to being a supervisor.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like for you?
I mean, it was a little difficult at first. Just because, when your manager or supervisor is younger than you, you feel like slighted. You're like, I should be in that position. Like, why am I there?
A, that should have been me. And B, you can't tell me when to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. So, I always tried to help out the team, and we had team competitions, which was awesome every month, and really enjoyed it. I did that for 7 years or so.
Wow.
And then they gave me the option. They're like, hey, we need some help on the corporate side. Would you want to come do this instead of COD sales?
And when you say do this, was that now an outside sales position?
So
or
it was
mostly inside?
Mostly inside. So it was an account executive position. So I had accounts that were assigned to me, but then I also had options like if I met somebody or reached out to someone, then I could sell those.
So it was still inside, but it was more strictly B2B.
Yeah. Strictly
versus
B2B.
Just working the general inbound number.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just taking like RMC inbound calls or emails
or movers or and basically it was assigned some accounts like heirs and some of the accounts that I work with now that have come with me. And I remember one of the accounts because I've always been on COD sales, so it's a little different. It takes some adjustment to the B2B side. And I remember calling one of the accounts and I was like, hey, I just wanted to check with you. I'm your new account executive and want to understand how the service has been and your feedback. And they were like, you guys suck. And I was like, wow.
You're like, I was like, this is like just a quick little, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this rhetorical question, like, how are we doing?
Exactly. And
between the eyes, huh? You guys suck.
For sure. And I was like, well, can I ask you some more follow-up questions? Like understand what that means to you.
Suck.
Like,
now, was this like a consultant level person or was this like a supply chain
consultant level?
Okay.
Yeah. But it was kind of the manager of that office.
Okay.
So it was divided by offices. So, and I was like, well, let me understand what that means. He was like, the communication sucks. And I was like, okay, well, is it like updates that you're having issues with? Or are you not getting responses on quotes? Like, what is it? And they were like, the response time sucks. I don't get notified when cars are going to be late. The claims process is too long, all of this stuff. And I was like, well, can I go over your expectations on all of these things? And kind of went through that process. And I was like, if I can meet what your expectations are, would you consider giving us another shot and, working through it? And that client went 10 times that year because it was really about listening. Like they wanted to be heard. They grew 10 times
10X?
with us.
Wow.
With us. But it was like they just wanted it to be corrected.
Well, and you demonstrated, I think where you gain trust in that process is you demonstrate a willingness to listen, and then you made a commitment to improvement. And then I'm assuming you had to have done what you said you were going to do. And so they probably felt like they had never been listened to before, because if they're going to hit you right between the eyes with "you guys suck," that tells me that they believe they have to communicate that way, because otherwise they will not be heard, which tells me that they feel like they've never been listened to.
Yeah, for sure. And so, I mean, that was kind of my first foray into being an account executive. And I'm like, okay, I guess she noticed that I didn't freak out when she said she
could take the feedback.
And I was like, I can take the feedback.
Yo, that coachability factor is huge.
So worked there for about, as an account executive for, I believe, about 4 years, 3 to 4 years.
I want to ask everybody out there real quick, as we're talking about this, because I absolutely love these conversations. I mean, you learn so much more through failure and adversity
100%.
and getting that feedback than you do from any of your successes. I want to hear from people out there. Have you ever gotten like a piece of feedback, or ever kind of failed, or were able to take a situation that was suboptimal, where a client really was not having a good experience and not having a good taste in their mouth, and able to flip that around?
Yeah.
I want to hear it. If you had that experience, get in the comments. We're running over on time. I don't really care. It's my show. I do what I want.
Is it already over time?
Get in the comments here. I want to know about that kind of stuff, because I love that. I believe that those types of situations, if you can overcome those, actually become the strongest relationships
100%.
you have.
100%. I've always loved the feedback. Like, that's why I always try to get it.
I love that you love that, because there's so many people out here that say they love it or whatever, but then when they get it, they get defensive.
Yeah.
And they start giving you like, oh yeah, but, and they start rationalizing. No, just take it.
But I know, and it's some of them I've worked with for so long, and they're just like, everything's going good. Like, I'll let you know if something goes bad. I'm like, and they're like, I totally get that you really want feedback. And so,
well, how about the ones that tell you everything's going good and then their business just drops off?
Yes.
And you're like, where'd you go and why?
I mean, that's the hardest one. But I think some of that will happen if you don't have a strong enough relationship with them for them to be open with you. Or it could also be they don't like to deliver bad news. I mean, it could be both.
Yeah, I guess, but like, yeah, but I still have to own that though, if that happens to me. Patty says that's the best feedback type. Someone who will really tell you what they think and willing to walk you through what they are unhappy with.
Yeah.
You're right, Patty. But in order to have that, they have to trust that it's worth their time to do that. And then you're not just gonna be, oh yeah, tell me more. Oh yeah, tell me more. Round file.
Exactly.
Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Because getting them to even tell you requires a lot of trust.
It does.
Otherwise, they'll be like, oh, it's fine. It's like when your wife tells you, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Fine is never okay.
No, it's never okay. No. Yeah. Let's unpack that.
Yeah.
I heard fine.
100%.
Use you hit me with the F word. Yes. What happened? What I do? Let's unpack that.
Yeah. But I mean, I love feedback, and what was something we do on the coordinator side is every time we send that feedback email asking it from the transferee, we have a field in Salesforce that we attach it to that order. So like when we do a yearly report, we also include the customer reviews. So, hey, here's the feedback we're getting from the transferees, along with our claims data, on-time percentage. Like our on-time percentage overall is about 98.8%. And our claims is under 2%. So very, very good numbers.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So yeah.
Janet Turner checking in. Hey, Charles. What's up, Janet?
Hey, Janet.
Get Janet checking in. I thought Janet forgot about me, honestly. I thought, she was like, I'm done with the show. I don't.
That's right. I'm not going to deal with this.
Janet said nice lighting. Thanks, Janet. Appreciate you. Got to get you on the show. Janet, when are you stopping through the studios, Janet? Gonna come hang out with me, huh? Janet, look at this. Something happened recently. I'm gonna ask you about. I don't know if it's okay to ask you about this or not, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. We had, oh gosh, here real quick before we get into this. Daniel McCoy says, yes, the client was so hostile, but I told them that that's why I'm here to listen and make connections, and I was able to turn a lemon into lemonade, and I still have that account after 15 years.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Love
Dana.
those stories.
Great story, dude. Something happened recently. You had the opportunity to become an owner in your company.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So
that's like the dream for a lot of people.
For sure. You know, it's like I've always treated every company that I've worked at as if it were my own.
I love
like,
that.
In between DAS and Acme, I went to a small startup I was the fourth employee, you know,
Yeah.
so which was awesome. I got to learn. I've always been very curious about every part of the business. I always talk to claims, I always talk to operations, accounting, the cleaning lady, like everybody.
The cleaning
Yeah,
lady.
for
Nice.
sure. Maria DAS, she was awesome.
Nice, Maria.
So I was always very curious, and I'd always thought one day I'm like, you know, I want to have my own company. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to run it. But you know, things always come up. You know, you got young kids, you know, all of that
Kids
stuff.
are the worst.
And
just kidding.
The best and worst. No,
love kids.
Best. And so I'd always wanted that. And the opportunity came recently over the last 6 months that the majority owner wanted to go focus on another business.
Wow.
So I was able to join the ownership group with Scott Buxa and Jeffrey Larned. And you know, it's really a dream come true, you know. Because a lot of my accounts thought I was one of the owners of Acme. You know,
yeah, because the way you handle your business, you know, and that honestly was like that for me too in a lot of my career, because just the way when you have a really good sales and business development person who takes ownership of situations and fixes it and will do whatever it takes, and sometimes will make calls unilaterally if they have to, just because they want to be fast and responsive.
Yeah.
You know, you give off that impression that you own the company.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about, it's a dream come true, and people treat you like that. You know, it was my dream for so long to own my own company, and it was the reason I went to my last job.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. But that is the dream, and my whole career, when I was at Pods, when I was at Packer, I mean, people would always ask me if I owned the company. People, when I was 26 years old, people asked me if I own Pods.
Yeah.
They didn't realize how big of a company it was, I think. But just because of the way you carry yourself.
Exactly. They saw really the care that you had and the way you followed through on things. And they were like, this guy must own it or own a part of it. Or
cares
something.
too much.
He cares too much.
He cares way too much.
Most 26-year-olds are not doing this.
He's not burnt out.
Yeah, exactly.
He's wearing a tie for no reason.
That's right. So, I mean, Glomo's been open for 2 years.
Yeah, a little over 2 years now. Yeah.
So you're 2 years in.
Yeah.
What would you have told yourself at the beginning that you know today?
I think first I would have told myself to do it sooner.
Yeah.
Right. I think I would have told myself to do it sooner. I think that I would have told myself that everything's going to be all right. It is so scary, starting a business. I mean, also quitting your job and going to start a company. It's like multiple scary events like wedged together, it's like jumping out of a plane, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. Like, you're like, he's probably gonna be fine. Like, but you really don't know what's going to happen, And so knowing that everything's going to be all right and that people are going to support you.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. When you work your way up to a certain station in life, a certain income, you get the big house and and you have all, the trappings of success. It's almost harder to quit your job then, because you have the things. You have the title, you have the money, you have the house, you have the lifestyle. Yeah. So to throw all that, to put that on the table, to bet that, that's scary. And then what if you fail? What if you fail? Are you going to get, people going to, you feel like people are going to laugh at you? You're going to lose whatever status you've acquired, in life. And so, because I had multiple people that I wanted to start businesses with over the last, few years, and they couldn't get over that. That was the one sticking point for them, was if I quit my job as a vice president here and I go start this thing, yes, I will have a president title, but I'll be making, a third of the money in the first year. And like, I'll have to like downsize my home or my lifestyle or whatever. And they couldn't get over that fear of taking like one step back to take like 8 steps forward. And they couldn't do it. So I mean, I think that like everything's gonna be okay. Is a big part of it.
And I commend you because I mean, you started from square one. You know, it's like from square one. Like you had the great relationships with it, but brand new business.
Yeah, I started from square one, but I didn't at the same time, right? Because you're right. I had all the social capital.
Yeah.
So I didn't
For sure.
have like yes, the business, like I made it up, right? Like Love and Reload made it up. Global made it up, right? But like I had a vault of social capital out there. Thanks to Love and Reload and everybody out there who's watching this right now. I thank you so much because I wouldn't be here right now without you. I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't be talking to Charles and his cool office with all these signs, all this cool stuff, and Adam and everybody, you know, who believed in me and supported me. Wouldn't be able to be here without you. So thank you a million times over. But I had a vault full of social capital.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did too early on is I did a lot of side gigs and like side hustling. Like so I had made like $54,000 like moonlighting, if you will. So I had a little cash in the bank for like startup costs. Like Glomo.com cost me $5,000.
Yeah.
Right. Trademarking that word cost me like $5,000.
Yeah.
Everything costs $5,000.
Yeah.
Computers and stuff. Right. I mean, all the gear, like $5,000. Like all this stuff costs money. And then I also, because I was moonlighting, I had some clients who I already had a track record with.
Yeah.
So when I went to them and I said, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. What if I did this for you, like almost like halftime instead of like just dabbling?
Yeah.
You know, would you pay me basically half what I was earning in salary? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, bet. I got no downside.
Yeah.
So now I got no downside. I got only upside. And now I get to go be free.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, what does Gary Vee say? It's like, do your side hustle until it can replace your day to day.
Yeah, do your side hustle until it can replace your day, or until you have no other choice but to quit your job.
Yeah.
And that was advice I was getting from so many entrepreneurs. And all I wanted to do was just quit my job.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was just quit my job because it was miserable. At some point you get miserable, right? At some point you are so checked out and you're so over it and you're so like in your head, like, screw this. And all you could think about is just quitting your job every day.
Yeah.
Right. And so all I wanted to do was quit my job. And every piece of advice I was getting for all the smart people that I trusted was work in that job until you can absolutely no longer work in that job.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best pieces of advice I ever got.
For sure. Yeah, I think really going to Acme kind of reinvigorated me as well. Cause it's like sometimes you get to that point, you're very frustrated, and it's like, you don't know what to do. And then it was like kind of when I went to that startup and kind of got to create my own processes, create best practices, like things I had learned, and put those in place and kind of see how those went. And then I went to Acme. Really,
isn't that so fun? Like making your own process and like building it the way you always knew it should be.
Yes,
because you worked in like DAS from like the ground up.
Yeah.
So you're like, and the best experience is that like phone rep experience, because you're getting the voice of the customer all like times 30.
Yeah.
You know how to navigate all the systems. You know from a customer experience everything that's effed up. Right. And all the things that make people just scream at you on the phone.
Yeah.
So when it comes time to build your own business, you're like, yeah, I already got the blueprint.
For sure. Well, and when I joined Acme, so Scott joined about 4 months later. And I mean, we worked with some moving companies, just not a lot. But the owner, Richard, me and him had a lunch and it ended up being 4 hours. So we started talking, like we were talking about how we treat customers, what common customers, and like where our heart's at. And my wife's calling me.
I love those heart conversations.
And my wife's calling me like, where are you?
She's like, how did it go? You never texted me. You promised you text me. I love that.
And she's like, I thought it was just lunch. And I said, it is, but we're still talking. Like we have a lot of exciting things. And a lot of that first six months to a year was a lot of late night conversations, like, hey, let's work this, let's do this. And I mean, we implemented Salesforce, which like changed the game with the way we could communicate internally, communicate with our customers.
So you use Salesforce really as like an operating system.
Yes. So our workflow all the way through invoicing goes through Salesforce.
Wow.
So really, when we were able to do that, it was like we were able to handle higher volume with the same crew and really optimize it, like make us more efficient as a company. And putting those processes like that I learned earlier was so awesome, really liberating and just awesome. Like and as a smaller company, it's like we're 22 employees. It's like we can change something today.
Yeah,
like
so
if
nimble.
we see something,
nimble.
it's like we're seeing this often. Let's change it
for sure.
So
we got people checking in here. Charlie Morris says, when I was selling moves, Acme was great in assisting me with transporting my customers' vehicles. They always went above and beyond with the service they provided. Wish you continued success, Charles.
Thanks, Charlie.
Charlie Morris is the president of the Pennsylvania Movers Association.
Okay.
Strictly VIPs here on Love. Only VIPs. Charlie has a good conference up there in Pennsylvania. I recommend anybody go. They do business in Pennsylvania. Patty Buxa says, culture, culture, culture. Yes.
That's right.
It's like a chant. I love it, Patty. Right. Yeah, it's super cool. Hey, we're over on time, but I don't care. I love it. I love these conversations. Adam, we got time for a little we got time for a top 5. It's a little top 5 action here.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry. You know what?
For sure.
It's I feel like I'm always hungry. What's our top 5 today, Adam? Top 5 Chinese restaurant dishes. Top 5 Chinese.
So it's funny that we're doing a top 5 because that's where we went to on our first lunch.
Yes.
What a Jingchi.
Our first date.
Great place. Yes. I would say.
All right, let's see. Number 5.
Number 5.
Do we have a number 5?
Kung Pao chicken.
Kung Pao chicken.
Yes. Like a little spicy. The peanuts in it. I like that part of it.
Kung Pao chicken. The spicy Kung Pao. All right. Yeah. I like it. All right. Number 4.
Sweet and sour chicken.
Hold up.
American
I am
sweet and sour chicken.
So angry. Honestly, this was going so well. We had 77 minutes of gold.
What's one of yours? I mean,
that's like chicken nuggets, dude.
I still got some good ones.
That's like chicken nuggets with Polynesian sauce. Is basically what
it's close.
I mean,
but at Jingchi, it does make it a little different.
Oh my gosh! All right, we'll have to try it.
It's not like your mall sweet and sour chicken.
Sweet and sour chicken. I never understood this dish because it's really just chicken, like deep fried in like a kind of a tempura style kind of batter, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand what's this is the sweet and sour just the sauce? It's the
just the sauce,
which is like a duck sauce, if you will, like old school duck sauce.
It's good stuff.
And then sometimes the sauce is really bad. It's very gelatinous at some places.
Could be.
Oh my gosh. Let me see. This is Jamie says, Charles will get a laugh at me. Sweet and sour chicken for me too. Pickiest eater ever, Jamie says.
Oh my gosh. Trying to take her out to lunch. You're just like, okay, a hamburger? Okay, we'll do a hamburger.
Hold the pickles, hold the onions, Jamie, get out of your shell. Variety is the spice of life.
We're going to have Indian food.
Jamie is?
I'm taking her.
I want to go for that. I love good Indian place.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to go.
Big fan. Aaron Venable saying, I appreciate your transparency, Charles. Great hearing your story. This is great. We got people saying Mushu, my absolute go-to. All right, number 3, Charles.
I'm gonna say General. Is it General Tso chicken?
General. How do you say it? General Cho's
chicken.
General Chow's chicken.
I think so.
General. Why can I not say this anymore? Can we get a pronunciation here?
That's great.
Look at that.
Neither of us can say it.
Well, once you said it, it messed me up. I feel like I had it.
You're like, this can't be right.
I feel like I had it. Yeah. Let's see it. Let's see. We need to look this up here. How do we say this? Pronunciation. Here we go. All right. This is how to pronounce it here. Let's see here. Can we get a print? It's not General So. General Sal.
Okay.
I think we're messing this up. We need some help here. Sal like cow. Jamie says Sal. How does Jamie know? Sal like cow. General Sal.
Okay.
General Sal's chicken.
Nice.
Sal like cow.
Nice.
Sal is a cow. Interesting. Okay. I'm not loving this.
No?
I felt like I knew you after lunch.
Gosh.
And we went to this most amazing, authentic Chinese place in Richardson.
Yeah.
And you're giving me mall food court.
Well, if we skip number 2, I can go to one that I know you like.
Well, we can't skip because we count in order.
Okay.
If my 4-year-old's taught me nothing, okay, you count in order. Number 2.
Number 2.
Then you want to say it.
Dim sum.
Dim sum's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, dim sum's like a category though, right?
Yeah.
And did you know dim sum is actually a breakfast food?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So oftentimes what I found with the Asian cuisines is my favorite varieties of them are either like not normally served in the restaurant because they're like reserved for certain times or situations. Like one of the best things of Vietnamese cuisine is the banh mi, but banh mi is like street food. So a lot of times you go to a Vietnamese restaurant, a banh mi will not be on the menu. Same thing with like dim sum. You go to a Chinese restaurant, dim sum is not usually served. Dim sum, I believe, and people can fact check me out there, was a like after the bar, you go out for you go out to eat. It's like 2,
really
3 in the morning. Yeah, it's like going out and getting like going to the diners, like going to Denny's.
Yeah,
after a night,
going to Jack in the Box.
Get
some tacos.
Yeah, but more like breakfast food. Yeah, like if you're going to breakfast tacos.
Yeah,
and so a lot of places, more authentic places will stop serving at around 10 or 11 a.m. So you go in for lunch and it's over already.
That's good.
Plus, it's like in a cart. It's like a whole production. So it's like if that's going to be the method you're delivering the food in, it's kind of like there's a time on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dim sum. What kind of dim sum is your favorite?
I don't know if
it's
I have
like a dumpling kind of.
Yeah, like a dumpling.
Like a shumai or something like that. Dumpling, pork dumpling, shrimp dumpling. What about you ever have a phoenix claw?
I haven't.
It's like a chicken foot.
Phoenix claw.
It's a chicken foot. It's like fried chicken feet. And like sauce, like a hot sauce.
I'll try it. I mean, I'll try any type of food.
I'm not saying try it. I'm just
I love trying different types of food. And my 10-year-old, almost 10, he loves trying all different types of food. So we go and try different stuff.
I think your 10-year-old should order for Jamie.
For sure.
And that's how we're gonna do this.
I don't know if she would go for that. She's like, no, that's too much. We went to this Korean noodle house and it was like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. So I just told him it was me, my daughter, which is 6, and my son, which is almost 10. And I was like, just bring 3 of your most popular dishes. And it was like we were trying mussels and all this way different stuff. And my kids tried it all.
That's awesome. Your kids are adventurous. How do you get your kids to eat all that stuff?
I don't know. Just one day they tried it and they're like, "Oh, this is good. I've never had this before."
Do you like not cook? Like, okay, when it's dinner time in the Beaty household, do they have to eat what everyone's eating? Like, is there one dish made, like one dinner?
We're lucky enough that our kids do. It's a 1-dish dinner.
So it's not like okay, and then like dinner is served, and oh, by the way, I gotta make mac and cheese for them, or I gotta make nuggets, or so you're just like dinner is you get what you get.
Yep. And they're good with it. So, but I mean, a lot of people don't have that luxury because I mean, I've got a nephew.
I'm not sure if it's a luxury or if it's like if you make them chicken nuggets every night, they will eat chicken nuggets. But if you don't give them the junk, then they'll eat the regular.
My nephew, like he eats 8 things. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, my kids, 8 things sounds like a lot for my kids. Oh my goodness. Tandra checking in, Peking duck and fried rice.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's a money call. Tandra's a money call. What's number 1, Charles?
Dumplings.
Yeah.
I love the green dumplings, as my daughter calls them. And I think the ones that she really likes are the pork and shrimp.
Yeah, like those are like the shumai. Like, is it cabbage on the outside? Is that why they're green? Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what makes it green.
Are they like real green? Are they
green.
like doughy and green?
Yeah, doughy and green.
Oh, so it's like a yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean that's a heck of a top 5 there.
You're gonna have to help me because obviously
you took me to this most amazing Chinese place in Richardson, and then you give me food court, my man.
This
like,
is awful.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You know what? We're gonna go out. Honestly, I got a dinner. I got a big client dinner tonight, but maybe we'll go get some dim sum after this.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun here, Charles. I want to just thank you so much for coming in and ask you got a final word for people out there?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I mean, I've
Yeah,
been watching
of
for 2
course.
years, which is awesome. But I really appreciate the format and really being able to come on and answer questions. I mean,
Yeah.
Brad gave us some
Some
awesome
great
questions. A
questions
couple
out there. You
others gave us some great questions.
guys rock.
Allie gave us some great questions,
Just
and
killed it.
really appreciate it. And that's about it.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody out there tuned in. Y'all killed it out there. The questions today were off the chain. Hit that like button again. Give Charles some love here. Thank him for coming out here. So cool having you in person, man.
Yeah,
Doing
man,
this.
appreciate it.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow we got Rob Morehouse from Erickson Immigration Group going to be here live with us in studio. Same time, tune in. And if you're going to be in the Dallas area at any time, hit me up because we are going to be having people in studio and we'd love to have you here with us. Take care, everybody.